Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast. Are you ready for another apocalyptic probe into some of the wildest end-of-the-world scenarios?
Always ready. Let's nuke it.
We've got some truly imaginative tales from the realm of flash fiction lined up for today.
Oh, I love flash fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Bite-sized apocalypse, perfect for a quick existential crisis.
You've shared some really interesting stories with us, and today, well, we're going to be looking at two that kind of blend supernatural shenanigans with, like, desperate survival. Think blockbuster action, but for your ears.
Sounds intense. Let's hear it.
Buckle up, because these stories are a wild ride. First up, we're unpacking a flash fiction story called No Rest Stops for the Wicked. Imagine your classic monster movie setup, okay, but with a comedic twist.
Oh, I love a good twist. Classic monsters, but funny. I'm intrigued.
We're talking about a vampire named Vlad who, well, he's not exactly thrilled about road trips. And then there's Anya, a werewolf, and she has, well, let's just say she has some serious road rage issues.
A vampire who hates road trips, a werewolf with road rage.
Ah.
It's already goals. Who else?
And then we have Casper. You know, Casper the friendly ghost. Except, well, maybe not so friendly, and also a little bit out of touch with the whole being incorporeal thing.
A ghost who forgets he's a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the comedic potential here. So what's the apocalyptic predicament these misfits find themselves in?
Well, our sources tell us that these unlikely heroes are pretty much the only thing standing between humanity and a doomsday device. What do you think about that?
Well, that's certainly turning the monster trope on its head, isn't it? I mean, we're used to them being the threat, not the saviors. I love it.
It's a real switcheroo. So the mission is this. This supernatural trio has to find and destroy an ancient artifact. This artifact is being held by, wait for it, a doomsday cult.
Okay, so far so good. Where's this artifact?
In Hellhole, Arizona.
You're kidding. Of course it's in Hellhole, Arizona. Where else would a doomsday cult hang out?
Right. We're going to explore their hilarious journey in this, well, I'm picturing a really beat-up RV. You know, from Vlad's issues with sunlight and terrified villagers to Casper's fascination with, like, ghostly chili cook-offs.
Ghostly chili cook-offs? Ghosts can cook.
Apparently so. At least Casper seems to think they can. It's all in the sources.
Fascinating. This really is a unique blend of the mundane and the monstrous.
It really is. And then there's their plan, or rather, their lack of a plan. From what I'm seeing, their strategy seems to involve a lot of smashing, grabbing, and trying very hard not to become snacks for the cult.
So not exactly a strategic masterpiece then, more of a smash and grab, hope for the best approach.
Pretty much. One of the moments that really stood out to me was their pit stop at a roadside diner for some interesting sustenance. Vlad, well, he's eyeing necks with a certain longing. Anya's ordering her steak practically raw. And Casper, well, Casper tries to eat, but he's a ghost. Of course. I can just imagine the chaos in that diner. A vampire craving blood, a werewolf wanting raw meat, and a ghost trying to eat solid food. It's like a sitcom episode waiting to happen.
Exactly. So they finally make it to the cult's compound, and their infiltration isn't exactly subtle. Casper does some spectral scouting, which, you know, could be useful, but he gets distracted by, well, everything.
Distractible ghost, check. What about the others?
Anya's grand entrance, lots of howling, not much stealth. And Vlad, well, he has to rely on centuries of, vampire stealth skills to snag this glowing orb.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster, to be honest. They at least managed to get the orb.
They do. But there's this great moment, right? A tense confrontation with the cult leader. But then out of nowhere, Casper interrupts, and he's got a donut.
Hey, what? A donut?
A donut. A ghostly donut, which, he can't actually eat.
So, in the middle of a life-or-death confrontation with a doomsday cult, a ghost tries to eat a donut. I love it.
Right. And after all that chaos, they actually manage to escape with the artifact. And where do they go? Straight to Vegas for an all-you-can-eat buffet, I hope.
Vlad's certainly hoping for that. But okay, so what do you make of all this? These classic monster tropes, the buddy comedy road trip vibe. What stands out?
Well, the humor, definitely. It's so refreshing to see these iconic figures of horror reimagined in this lighthearted, almost goofy way.
And what do you think this story is telling us about finding humor, even in the face of, world-ending threats?
I think it speaks to the resilience of the human spirit. Even in the face of the apocalypse, we can still find ways to laugh, to connect with each other, to find joy in the small things. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always a glimmer of hope and, maybe even a ghostly donut.
Very well said. Okay, let's shift gears now. Time for our second apocalyptic probe.
Hit me with it.
We're moving away from the comedic monster mashup and into something a bit darker but equally as compelling.
Bring on the darkness. I'm ready for it.
It's a flash fiction story called The Last Oasis. This one drops us right into a dystopian future. Picture a wasteland, dust, ash, and these terrifying creatures mutated,
A classic dystopian setup. Always a crowd pleaser. But what makes this one special?
Amidst all this bleakness, there's this small band of survivors. And then there's Kyra. She's a former engineer, and she's got this scavenged tech that suggests something incredible. A portal.
A portal. Where to? Another dimension. Alien planet.
It's not just to another place, it's to another time.
Whoa, time travel. Now that's a game changer. And where exactly in time does this portal lead?
To a mythical past, a time when gods and monsters were real. Pretty wild, right?
Absolutely. So we've got a bleak dystopian future and a mythical past full of gods and monsters. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, that's what the story explores. The survivors are skeptical at first.
Makes sense. They've probably seen enough crazy stuff to be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true.
Exactly. But Jax, one of the survivors, he's clinging to this desperate hope. And then they activate the portal, and it reveals this world teeming with vibrant life. But it's also full of these dangerous creatures straight out of legends.
Sounds like a mixed bag. So what's the plan? What do they hope to achieve by going to this mythical past?
They have this really daring plan to seek out allies in the past. They want to find help to save their future.
Whoa. So they're going back in time to recruit gods and monsters to help them fight the apocalypse in their present? Now that is ambitious.
It is. And of course, they immediately run into danger. Jax gets attacked by this shape-shifting beast.
Oh no. So this mythical past is not all sunshine and rainbows then?
Not exactly, but just when things look bad, a warrior woman arrives. It's like she stepped out of a history book. And get this, she's wielding a spear made of sunlight? What do you think about that?
A warrior woman with a spear of sunlight. Sounds pretty badass. I guess even in mythical past, you need some serious firepower to deal with shape-shifting beasts.
You got it. So what do you make of this combination? This harsh, dystopian future, then bam, this vibrant, dangerous, magical past.
It's a powerful juxtaposition. On one hand, you have this desolate, hopeless future, and then suddenly you're transported to this world that's bursting with life, magic, and ancient power. It's like a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's still a spark of wonder and possibility.
It really is. And then Kyra makes this plea to the warrior woman. She's asking beings from another time to help save their own future. What does that say about human resilience?
It's incredible, isn't it? Even when faced with total annihilation, humans still have this drive to survive, to seek solutions, to reach out, even across time and worlds for a chance at salvation.
It's inspiring in a way, but let's talk about potential issues. What could go wrong bringing these mythical beings into the future?
Oh, so many things could go wrong. Imagine trying to explain a post-apocalyptic wasteland to beings who are used to a world ruled by magic and ancient laws. There's bound to be a massive culture clash. Not to mention, these mythical beings, they might have their own agendas.
Yeah.
They might not be so keen on helping humanity.
Right. They might have their own problems to deal with. Bringing them to the future could create a whole new set of problems, maybe even worse than the ones they're already facing.
Absolutely. It's like opening Pandora's box. You never know what's going to come out.
Okay, so we've gone on two pretty amazing apocalyptic probes today. In No Rest Stops for the Wicked, we saw these classic monsters become unlikely heroes, finding humor even when facing a doomsday device. Then in The Last Oasis, we saw this mix of dystopia and mythology highlighting the lengths humanity will go to for survival. What are your final thoughts?
I think both stories, despite being so different in tone and style, ultimately tap into this fundamental human desire for hope. Whether it's finding humor in the face of annihilation or reaching out to mythical beings for help, we're always searching for a way to persevere, to find a glimmer of light in the darkness.
So true. Consider this. Both stories show us these really unusual solutions to world-ending problems. A monster road trip to stop a doomsday device, traveling through time to ask for help from gods and monsters. What does that say about our imagination?
I think it shows just how limitless the human imagination truly is. When faced with the unthinkable, we can come up with the most creative, the most outlandish solutions. It's like our minds refuse to accept defeat, always searching for a way out, a path to survival. Who knows, maybe those outlandish ideas are the key to overcoming real-world challenges.
It's definitely something to think about. Thank you for sharing these amazing flash fiction stories with us for this apocalyptic probe on the Just Nuke It podcast. We hope this deep dive has sparked your imagination.
This has been a blast, and I can't wait to see what apocalyptic scenarios we'll be probing next.
Rate and follow the show for more captivating stories. And until next time, keep those apocalyptic scenarios coming.